We're recording.
Okay. All right, guys. Welcome. Thanks for showing up. Couple housekeeping things. One is our coach sneak peek is coming up on September 9th, 10th, and 11th. The 10th is really the day of information. The 9th is when it will kick off. People can introduce themselves. And the 11th is like sign up day. So later on this week, maybe tomorrow even, start making a post and talking about it on your social stories. So how am I doing, Brittany? Am I cutting out or not?
Nope, you're good.
Okay. Post about it, make a post, talk about it in your stories, and then go back the next day and you send an invite to everyone that watched and everybody that liked your post. And you'll just ask if you want the link to join the group. And then if they say yes, you just copy the link from Facebook, send it to them. Done deal. So really utilize that because I think that's going to be a great thing for business building, looking for actual people that want to join our team as coaches. So, all right, we have Jelena on. I'm going to let her take over for now. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me? I didn't know if it actually worked. Yeah? Okay.
Yep.
Cool. So it's been 3 weeks coming. So I'm just trying to go back to what I had initially kind of thought up and everything. But I guess Candace had basically said, I don't know what I've gotten out of this, what I've learned and what I wish I knew and everything. And one big thing that, when I jumped right in, I feel like it's something that everyone always mentions is that it's something that they didn't realize that they needed in their life. And oddly enough, it really was because I wasn't looking for anything. I've always been an avid exerciser, I guess you can say. And I've always tried super hard to do the nutrition side of it, but it's always been a huge struggle to stay on that track. And I went to school and my major was basically in exercise physiology and everything. So you would think that it would just come easy, but it's throughout my whole life, it's never become easy because I've always just been are you hungry? Are you hungry? Do you want food? Are you making this and making that? That was my mom, making everything. And I'm as I got older, I learned to say no, I'm not hungry. But anyway, so when back in February, so I've always known about Beachbody for some time, but back in February, my sister had an account, and so she was sharing her workouts. So I joined her account and all that stuff, and I found Lift 4, and I've always been a big lifter with being in sports and whatnot, and even in college. It's just been something I really, really enjoyed. So I started that program, and I was getting good results. I could tell I was getting stronger, but I wasn't actually getting what I wanted out of it. And after starting it the second time around, I still realized I wasn't getting what I wanted. And then Candace had reached out, and I was like, no, I'm not into that kind of stuff. That was my initial thought. I feel like that is for everybody when they even get a request. We all know that, but anyway, but then I thought about it, and I'd talked to my sister, and she's the fact that she was telling me that, yeah, that would be awesome to go for that just right there told me yeah, okay, I'm gonna just jump in, because I know Emily had something the other day, but there's no good time to start. You just have to do it. So it's 100% the truth. You just have to dive in and everything. But what I didn't know, I guess, what I didn't really know is, and I've actually been struggling the last month, or probably August was tough because I felt like the more invites I sent, the more people were responding, or the more people were, saying no thanks. And so when people say no thanks, I'm instantly okay, I'm not going to bother you, but with this group we did a couple weeks ago with Dash to Diamond, it really kind of helped me get out of my comfort zone with those people that had said, oh, not right now, or no, I'm okay. I was able to just kind of say, hey, thanks for what, I found something to connect with them. One girl, I went to college with her, And she actually, what was it? Oh, she's like, you know, has mom of two and everything, full-time job, but she's recently started coaching soccer. And I had seen her post about it, and so I just saw her, she'd watched my story, and I reached out to her, and, you know, I just created the conversation with her, and I'm like, okay, this is really cool, connecting with people that I typically wouldn't find myself connecting with. And there was another person too that I just, you know, started a conversation on. Oh, one was training for like a half marathon, so I like, you know, asked her how that was going, because she was like, oh, right now I'm going to focus on this, but, you know, maybe on. So I was just kind of putting the bug in her ear. So that really helped me. But the biggest struggle I think that I've been having is keeping going. And there's been a lot of things that have definitely helped me with that, because I realize that it's not going to, you know, you're not going to figure it out overnight. You're not going to figure it out. And, you know, everybody has their time frame that they figure it out in. And that's what I'm learning, that I just have to keep doing it, you know. And like, I realize that some days I'm not as engaged as I am in other days, but that's just, you know, life. And I figure it out as I go. And some days I make up for it and I just like, you know, overtime it and everything. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I realized I really just have to commit to it and say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this, because, you know, then over time, I really think it can become something. And I've really enjoyed, like, you know, not knowing hardly anybody that I'm engaged with within this group and everything. It's just nuts to me to, like, you know, everybody supporting everyone daily, and just, you know, it's just awesome. I love the vibe that goes on, and it's honestly like an awesome way to start the day and kick things off and everything. So yeah, I don't know, anything else?
Thank you. Does anyone have questions for you? If you do, you can hop on or write them in the chat. I really liked a lot of the things. One, I just jotted down sending invites and getting those back and things. Just keep in mind, those are seeds that you are planting. And so, like Jelena said, it's perfect. She's engaging with these people. I've looked back at some of the people I've signed up, and I've maybe invited them like 5 times, and they've never responded until that 5th time. So you just never know. And sometimes people aren't going to sign up with you, but we're making connections too. And maybe you've inspired them. And I just think that's a cool part of the job too. So, and then just continuing to keep going. It made me think of at Summit this past summer when I got to go to the big Beachbody Summit. One of the breakout sessions, they referred to it as, or one of the speakers referred to it as divorce, like getting divorce off the table. So like really just committing and knowing that quitting this isn't an option, because like Jelena just talked and she lit up about this job and the feeling she gets from the group, like, you know, this is a right fit for you when you feel like that. And so just taking the option of even quitting off the table, and just knowing that there's going to be busy seasons and like she said, days where you aren't engaged. And that's the good thing about this job, is that there's days where we don't need to be all over social media and whatever. And there's other days where we can crank out a bunch of invites and things like that. And really, like she said, overtime it. But I loved it. The other thing that I'm going to talk about tonight, if anybody doesn't have any more questions or anything for Jelena, is something that Emily and I talked about with we got to go to the leadership retreat in Lake City, actually, on the lake, in this beautiful house with my coach, Andrea, who put it on for us. It was amazing. And one of the things, we talked about a lot of things, but one is about posting. And I'm going to touch on a couple pieces of that, but I'm going to try to go pretty quick so that we're not on here too long. A lot of us teachers are probably shot after having students for 2 days. I know I am, those little energy suckers. But so one, we talked about just in general, like long posts and short posts, like how do you know and when do you use those and whatnot. Well, really a variety is good. You want to be engaging and eye-catching, and that's how you're going to get people to read your longer ones. So don't be afraid to do shorter ones. One thing that we talked about was when you're writing a post, whatever the best, most eye-catching line is in that post, once you've written it, pull it out and put it first so that people read it and they're like, what? I got to keep reading to find out like what's going on here. So that's one tip too. I have some notes. That's why I keep looking down. And then just making sure that your posts, if you are posting daily or whatever, or every other day or something, that at least 2 times a week after your post at the end, you put a little invite, or like we call them a call to action, where you just put a message at the bottom saying, you know, girl, if you feel this too, like drop me a heart or send me a message, or, you know, where you're inviting them to join you. And then the other part to posting is that you want your content, you know, to be of value so that people come back for more. And so sometimes it's good to start with just a personal development book or a podcast or something, and just hit that for like 10 minutes to get your mind flowing and get positivity going in there. And then, you know, when things catch your eye, or a quote or a line in the book catches your eye, then start writing about that, but, you know, using your own words. And start writing about that. And so use your personal development time to help you come up with posts. And then I think the hugest, biggest part that I have noticed is when you dig deep and find time to figure out what your own story is, it's huge. So for the longest time, and my coach will tell you when I started over a year ago now, one of my reasons why I couldn't start was that I said, I have a boring life. I'm just a mom. I'm just a teacher. I just get up and I do my workout and I go to school and I take care of the kids and I go to bed and I repeat, and I don't have a story to tell. Well, first of all, if you're saying that to yourself too, we all have a story to tell. So stop saying you don't have a story to tell, because you do, and someone needs to hear it. So I had to actually sit down, because my coach challenged me to do this. I had to sit down and write out my story. And so I literally just, and Emily did this at the leadership retreat, so she can speak on it too. But basically I didn't worry about putting in a post format. I just wrote, like I kind of just brain dumped my mind, and anything that came to mind that was like a part of me, I just wrote it out. And that was difficult. It took a couple nights, but eventually I got something put together. And then you can go back to that, and now you can tweak it, and now you can take, you know, a paragraph here, a paragraph there, and make it into posts. And then you're going to keep sharing that over and over, because people need to hear your message more than once. They literally don't remember it until they've heard it from you multiple times. I don't know why, but they do. And I can't tell you that when I have really dug deep and shared like a part of my soul, something that's vulnerable to me. If you follow me, I've shared a little bit this summer. Finally, I've done 2, kind of about, basically I admitted that being a stay-at-home mom is just not for me. That I feel I had a lot of guilt saying that prior. I couldn't admit it, but every day I was like going crazy. Not every day, but a lot of the days that summer, I was just like jealous that my husband got to go to work and that I was like stuck here, even though I love my children and I love the time I get to spend with them. 24/7 was too much for me. And so, you know, this and you guys in this job lights me up, and I need this time in my life. And so admitting that, and I posted about that, that's when I had people comment and engage, like, oh, you could have written this for me. Like when people start telling you that, like, I feel like you're in my mind and you could have written that post like right from my brain, you know, you're in your lane. And when it makes you a little nervous, because honestly, I haven't been that nervous posting in a long time, and I got nervous. Like I had my coach read it, proofread it, check it over, and I never do that. Usually don't do that. And so you knew, like, if you get the butterflies in the stomach, that you're in the right spot, you're sharing things that are going to inspire people, relate to people, and gain people that feel like they know, like, and trust you. And that's really when you're going to start seeing kind of a boom in your business. That was the common theme throughout all of Summit, that any top coach that was speaking, she said, it wasn't until I figured out who I was. It wasn't until I knew who am I authentically, and then am I willing to share it with everybody, getting out of my comfort zone, not worrying about what people would think or say, because honestly, I worried for months. Like, I can't post about that because I should just be grateful that I have 3 healthy children, that I could get pregnant so easily, that my kids aren't sick. Like, I can't post about that. What if people take that the wrong way? And I did get 2 different messages sent back to me that privately that they were like, but you also know that you're going to get that, and then your post isn't for them, and that they're reflecting something onto you. So you know you've really hit your lane when you've done that. But it took a lot of like digging deep. So your assignment, if you choose to accept it, is to find some time within the next week before next Wednesday to like sit down and just write your story out. For me, I had to go back further. I thought my story started with, I just gained a lot of weight when I was pregnant, literally 50 pounds 3 times, and Beachbody worked each time. I had to go back farther than that, and really where it started was that I was an athlete, and I didn't really know how to work out after. I never talked about nutrition. I didn't know about it. I ate a full Jack's pizza some nights after basketball practice because I was starving from working out so long. And I just, like, I had a mentality that I refused to do lunges for like 3 years after I got done with basketball because I was forced to work out, and it was like my job in college because I was paid to do it. And so I kind of resented it because it was for a while. And so people can relate to that mindset. They maybe can't relate to being a college athlete, but they can relate to the mindset of working out as a punishment, and things like that. So when you go back and you find those parts of your story, it's all a part of it. Put it all together, because the mom part and the pregnancy weight, that's part of it. Being an athlete, that was part of it. Not knowing what to do with my nutrition, that was part of it. And so piecing it all together and sharing those parts over and over. Does people have questions I can talk about, or other people can hop in about posting in general? Brittany, anything?
You covered a lot. I know that I personally need to write out my story because I definitely struggle with that. And just having that to fall back to, as well as like, I guess I also go back to like my pain points, like me, like I slept terrible for years. And so just like, I just had no energy to like even get up and work out. And that's like a lot. I do talk about that quite a bit, is like I didn't think it was even possible to work out in the morning because I already didn't have the energy to get out of bed at 6:30. How could I fit that into my day? And so that's things like that. So I do a lot more with like pain points is my story, because that's really what, I don't know, got me started. But I do need to dig deeper on that.
That's a good point too, because if you think back to your own pain points, I think that's going to have you fit that. That's how you're going to figure out what your story is, because that's really the reasons why you made changes, as when you hit certain pain points and you're like, that's enough, I need to change this. So when you decided to make changes, if you think about that time and what was going on, that's probably where you're going to find your story, is what I would think. But yeah, definitely take the time, because it was probably 6 months in before I actually sat down and did that. And around the same time, I would say it directly correlated to my business growing much bigger and faster than it ever was prior. So finding your story is really, it's something that we need to do. So with that, if there's nothing else, should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Because honestly, I'm probably just going to go to bed.
I'm going to see if I can remember what it was, but I was watching Emily Faver's video on how she changed her mindset right before this. She was like a diamond coach for 4 years, and now she's like second or third in the company. So I YouTube her videos quite often, just because I feel like she's extremely relatable, and like I laugh because her video, I'm wondering if the original video is from like the Beachbody Champion page, but how like nervous she is to speak on it and things like that. Or even when she's on stage, she's always like super nervous to speak. And I'm like, okay, that's me. I can relate to that. So I always like love the message that she kind of stands behind, because when she, okay, so before she like kind of like really started to grow her business. She was a diamond coach with 600 followers, and she now has like over 10,000 followers. So it just kind of like makes it relatable that like everybody starts somewhere. But a big thing that she always says that really resonates with me is, why not you? And if you kind of sort of try, you kind of sort of get results. And that's what I'm falling into right now. So I need to like figure it out and get a better plan going on. So.
Yeah, exactly. Why not you? Literally all the top coaches started where we are, and there's no reason other than our own self standing in our own way, basically. But all right, we're gonna let you guys go unless there's anything in the chat. Yeah, Miracle Morning. If you're reading that in our group, loving it. I personally have been getting up at 4 a.m. Brittany's time to work my business before I work out, because I was losing that time because I thought I would do it after I work out, but my kids are awake. And I found, I can work out while they're awake, but I can't work when they're awake. And so I flip-flopped them, which made me getting up a little earlier. But it honestly has been going pretty well, because when you get up to things that energize you, it's easier to do. So anyways, we'll let you guys go. Thanks for hopping on, everybody. If you're watching
Have a good night,
the recording,
guys.
great week. See you later.